Hello there. It is the FA Cup third round this weekend. A magical time for fans of many clubs other than Queen's Park Rangers. QPR, of course, are hosting Bournemouth at Loftus Road on Saturday afternoon. So let's talk through what to expect from the Cherries. Bournemouth are enjoying a pretty good season so far, especially in recent weeks. They're currently sitting in 12th place in the Premier League in their second season back in the top flight since their promotion in the 21-22 season. After caretaker manager Gary O'Neill guided the club to a comfortable 15th place finish last year following Scott Parker's pretty dismal start to the season, many were surprised to see that O'Neill's stay was not extended at the club, with the club's owners instead opting to bring in Andoni Iraola as their new manager. The Spaniard arrived on the south coast on the back of a healthy 39% win rate with Rayo Vallecano, having guided them to promotion to La Liga in 2021 and the final four of the National Cup the following season. Leeds had also made an approach for Iraola in February 2023, but Rayo Vallecano were not willing to let him go at the time. After turning down the option to renew his contract though, there was little the club could do when Bournemouth came calling in the summer. And until October, questions remained around Bournemouth's decision to move O'Neill on. Bournemouth went winless in the first 9 matches of the season and collected just 3 points, while O'Neill had gained 12 points in the same run with his new side Wolves. But the Bournemouth faithful's patience was finally rewarded at the end of October with a first league win, a 2-1 win against Burnley at home. And after losing the next game 6-1 away at Man City, they would go 7 unbeaten in the Premier League, winning 6 games and keeping 4 clean sheets. Wins against Newcastle, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, Man United, Forest and Fulham have buoyed the Bournemouth faithful. At the heart of those results has been a rich vein of scoring form from Dominic Solanke, currently enjoying his best Premier League season to date with 12 goals so far, his previous best record being 6, which was last season. 8 of his 12 goals came in that 7 unbeaten run alone. Now that run of course was ended with a 3-1 loss away at Spurs in their final game of 2023, though it's not a result the Cherries fans will be feeling too disappointed by, especially given the consolation goal came from £23 million summer signing Alex Scott, the 19-year-old's first goal for the club following a long spell out with injury, and the goal coming on the back of an assist in the previous game against Fulham, a 3-0 win. So with Bournemouth currently sitting 4 points from 9th place, which is the highest they've ever finished in the Premier League, and now 10 points clear from safety, their fans will surely be looking up rather than down in the second half of the campaign. Now you'd usually expect a Premier League team to put out a weakened side against lower tier opposition, but I'm not 100% sure that that's going to be the case this weekend. Interestingly, Bournemouth have just one Premier League match to play in January, Liverpool at home on the 21st. They'll be without Semenyo and Atara as they're both off to AFCON, though Liverpool's loss of Salah will soften that blow. But with a 21-day gap between Premier League games, I wouldn't be surprised to see them put out a stronger side than expected here. They did field weakened sides against Stoke and Swansea in the Carabao Cup at the end of last year, but the context was very different at the time because they hadn't yet won a Premier League game at that stage. After an excellent run of form in the league, and with considerable rest between Premier League fixtures, there's really no reason for them not to go for it here. I can really imagine them putting out a team about 75% full strength. And that's not to mention that the Bournemouth fans will also be very keen for a cup run. They haven't progressed past the 4th round since 2021, losing to Southampton in the quarter-finals, and they lost 4-2 to Burnley in the Championship at the time in the 3rd round last year. It's also Iraola's first FA Cup tie, and given his success in guiding Vallecano to the semi-finals in the Spanish equivalent of the FA Cup, Bournemouth will be hoping that he can mirror similar form here. It's very likely that Solanke will be given a break, though he did come off the bench to score against Stoke in the Carabao Cup. Kieffer Moore has been given permission to leave the club, though they may offer him a starting place in the side to put him in the window. Maybe Marty could have a word with him after the match and try and convince him to come to Loftus Road. I must say it's also looking pretty ideally set up for Alex Scott to have another run out and build on the promising signs he's displayed in the Premier League in recent weeks. Now we do have to talk about QPR as well, of course, unfortunately. Basically take everything I've just said about Bournemouth and flip it. After a promising start to life for Marty Cifuentes with 12 points from his first 7 games in charge of the club, things have gone back to normal really. QPR are now winless in the league in 6 matches. They've fallen to 23rd with Sheffield Wednesday leapfrogging them over the weekend, and they've scored just 2 goals in that run. We can't defend, we can't score, and we desperately need new recruits in January. The cherry on top of that, of course, is the injuries we've picked up in recent matches, with our best players, Elias Chair, Chris Willock and Steve Cook, all absent from the squad against Cardiff last weekend. Add to that the fact that QPR never take the FA Cup seriously. We have been beaten 50 times in the 3rd round, more than any other club in the country, and given that we're fighting for survival, it was always going to be unlikely that we would field a strong team here. And with another 3 crucial home games to play in January against Watford, Millwall and Huddersfield, expect to see a team very similar to the one that lost to Norwich in the first round of the Carabao Cup back in August. Marty has been renowned for chopping and changing his teams in the last couple of months, so it's very likely that he'll be seizing this opportunity to rest most of his starting 11. We may see appearances from Morgan Fox and Jack Colback, both returning from injury. Aaron Drew, Rafty Pedder and Laurent Teller all on the bench against Cardiff, so I imagine they'll be most likely to be in the starting lineup too. And that's the only way you can spin it really. Hopefully it gives some of these young players a platform to show what they can do. It's a shame that Ryan Colley went off injured after coming on as sub against Cardiff. He looked excellent and this would have been a really good opportunity for him. Now before I round off the video, I couldn't not mention the pricing of this match. £25 for an FA Cup game in the form we're in, for a team that have the record number of losses at the third stage of the FA Cup, in a match we're absolutely going to put the kids out for, just after Christmas, is absolutely disgraceful from the club. And that sentiment is clearly being shared by a lot of Rangers fans because attendance is looking pretty scarce on the club website. This was a perfect opportunity to try and pack out the ground again, sell tickets for £5, £10, and they've opted for money instead. And it's not worked really because not many people are buying the tickets. West Ham, a Premier League side, are offering adult tickets for £10 against Bristol City and kids for £1. That's how you're supposed to do it. Right, so let's end with a prediction. This is only the second time that QPR and Bournemouth have faced one another in the FA Cup, with QPR winning the first clash 2-0 in 1967. The Cherries did, of course, win both of our last meetings together in the Championship in their promotion-winning season in 21-22. Bournemouth have lost their past 2 FA Cup games, both against teams from lower divisions, but all of these stats are fairly redundant with the form that we are in. Even if Arola does put out a weakened team, even if he does put out the kids, I think they're going to win quite comfortably here, so I'll go with a 2 or 3-0 and we'll leave it at that. As usual, let me know your predictions and thoughts in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and liking the video, it really helps me out, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!